Good evening, panelists who have taken off your valuable time to join us, and good evening to all those construction professionals who have logged in for this 12th webinar by Ramco Cements. In fact, Ramco Cements and Association of Consulting Civil Engineers have organized number of webinars during the last 15-20 days. So today's topic is on ready-mixed concrete manufacturers and users perspective, and we have three panelists who are well known in their respective fields. We have Dr. Aswath, who is a renowned academician, director and principal, Bangalore Institute of Technology, and we have Shri Engineer G.H. Basavaraj, who is having almost 40 plus years experience in the construction field. We have Mr. Ravi Shankar, who is the past president of RMCMA. So before we start off with the program, let me just give you a brief introduction of today's panelists. Dr. Aswath, who is the Director Principal, Bangalore Institute of Technology. He is the he has been the technical. He has published over 100 papers at national and international journals, conferences, and he has also been associated with Association of Consulting Civil Engineers. And we have Shri Basavaraj, who is the chairman and managing director of Chetna Construction. He is a postgraduate from IIT Bombay with 40 years plus experience. He has been able to devise simplified construction process by developing ECBC TM technology. He has got an award for Outstanding Engineer of Karnataka. And the Chetna Engineering Services Private Limited was started in the year 2007. Chetna Group, and later on it was incorporated as Shunoya Nava Designs Private Limited. He has also been credited with number of trend centers in innovative applications in the area of reinforced concrete structures, the Maivan formwork, software, structural analysis and design, and number of innovative designs in the area of concrete technology. And we have Engineer Ravi Shankar, who has been associated with an organization which pioneered the use of ready-mixed concrete in the country. He is a postgraduate in marine structures from NIT Surathkal, Karnataka, advanced diploma in concrete technology from CGLI, UK. He worked as president of ready-mixed concrete and aggregates with RMC Ready-Mix India. He has been the past president of Ready-Mixed Concrete Manufacturers Association, and he has been taking number of initiatives in the area of certifying RMC plants. And he has also received Eminent Engineer Award from Association of Consulting Engineers. So that is what we have three eminent panelists. Dr. Aswath, who has taken a lot of initiatives as far as the activities of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers is concerned. Apart from being an academician, he has been in touch with various industries, various captains of the industry, and I am sure that all the three panelists would be able to throw more light on this area. With that, let me just hand over it to Dr. Aswath to speak a few words on Association of Consulting Civil Engineers.
Okay, good evening, sir. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Association of Consulting Civil Engineers, as you know, is the biggest organization in civil engineering, catering to the requirements of the construction industry, especially the consulting civil engineers. We have centers across all the states, majority of the states, about 16 plus centers, at more than 6,000 members. And all these centers are doing excellently well and doing activities which are required for knowledge dissemination in this area. Especially in this period of global crisis, COVID-19, all our centers and members are doing great service to the community in their local areas, whatever is required for the support of the construction industry, whether it is taking care of the construction workers, distributing the groceries for all the people. They're engaged with all these kind of activities. And apart from this, our centers are also supporting to the respective state government relief funds and the central government relief funds by collecting the contributions from the members. And I would like to thank at this point of time our Bangalore Center team headed by Mr. Rajesh Kannan, who has taken up initiatives in organizing the webinars on various aspects of construction industry requirement and how to handle this situation. And I thank Rajesh Kannan and the ACCE, headed with a lot of experienced governing council members doing a lot of supporting activities to all the centers. And ACCE is doing a lot of activities. And recently we also completed about 35 years. And I would like to remember the services and the vision of the founder members at this point in time. And I would like to thank the vision of the governing council and especially the founder members for initiating such a wonderful association, which is doing a lot of service at this point of time. Over to you, Anil.
Thank you so much, sir. In fact, the collaboration of Association of Consulting Civil Engineers with Ramco Cement has been quite an old one, and we have also been participating in a number of events, and that has been enriching. And as an organization, we have been able to learn a lot of things from the eminent construction professionals of Bangalore. We have been able to get feedback about the various practices that is being going on. Now, coming to Mr. Ravi Shankar, we'll start off with you. Being the past president of RMCMA and having been associated with an organization who has pioneered the use of RMC in India, what is your views on the RMC industry as such in today's scenario? That is one thing. And as a follow-up question to that, do you think that there is some kind of certification for RMC process as well as for the product itself? Over to you, Mr. Ravi Shankar. You are able to hear me?
Yes, very much. Yeah. Thanks, Mr. Anil. Good evening, panel members, Dr. Aswath and Engineer Baswaraj, Mr. Anil, Mr. Rajesh Kannan, Chairman of ACCE, all participants, ladies and gentlemen. First, let me thank ACCE and Ramco Cements Limited for inviting me to be a panel member of this today's webinar. Coming to the ready-mix concrete industry, I was very fortunate to be one of the pioneers to start from the inception of the ready-mix concrete industry in the country. I worked with great leaders, and one gentleman I would like to remember who has immensely contributed to the Ready-Mix Concrete Manufacturers Association and ready-mix concrete industry as a whole is Mr. V.R. Kulkarni. I thank all the industry leaders and Mr. V.R. Kulkarni for the ready-mix concrete industry that we are seeing today. If you look at the ready-mix concrete industry in advanced countries, it's as old as 50 to 100 years. Whereas in India, it's close to 3 decades. The first ready-mix concrete plant started in the year 1991 in Pune by Pune Ready-Mix Concrete Company, followed by the ACC and L&T have started their operations in India. One of the major breakthrough in the ready-mix concrete and industry in the country was in 1996 when 2 multinational companies, one is RMC Ready-Mix UK and the other is Fetcher Challenge New Zealand, came to India and started their operations in Mumbai and Bangalore respectively. When we started in the year 1996, we used to import plant and machineries, plants, pumps, everything from the countries like Italy, Germany, and other countries. Later on, a lot of Indian companies have started manufacturing these plant and machineries in India, and also multinational companies have started manufacturing units in the country. Today, if you look at the concrete plants, we have concrete plants of capacity ranging from 30, 60, 90, 120 cubic meters. Even I would say 240 cubic meters for some infrastructure projects. But if you look at the commercial ready-mix concrete industry is concerned, capacity is more or less 30 and 60 cubic meters per hour plants. And as far as the concrete pumps are concerned, way back in 96, 97, we have imported boom pumps in the country, in the industry. But static pump and line pump played a major role in pumping activities across the country. Boom pump as such, it has a limited boom length, say 28, 32, 36 meters. I'm glad to share another point here that Somero line dragon, that is easing our pumping operation in terms of placing and pulling the pipeline. That's yet to start its operation in India, but a company Somero from USA has come out with Somero line dragon. I'm very glad to see these pumps getting into the ready-mix concrete industry in the country. Today we have best of the plants, best of the concrete pumps, transit mixes available in the country. And as far as the materials are concerned, we have everything, whatever is available in the rest of the world, like the cement. Of course, Mr. Anil is the right person to talk about, and he's talking to you over the last few webinars and different types of cement and then how consistently cement companies are supplying good quality cements. And the chemical admixtures, super plasticizers, SNF and mostly mid-range and NPC admixtures, and mineral admixtures like be PFA, GGPS, microsilica, metakaolin, alkophiles, fibers, pigments, everything is available. So with the introduction of this ready-mix concrete materials, machineries, and I would say, though we're the late starters, but particularly over the last 3 decades, made a huge advancement in the production of some even the special concretes across the country. Let it be high-strength, high-performance concrete, lightweight concrete, high-density concrete, self-compacting concrete, and so on and so forth. Today, if you look at the post-lockdown situation, mechanization is certainly a need of the day, need of the hour. And I'm sure ready-mix concrete industry is geared up in meeting all the challenges of the concrete industry. And also, if you look at the market penetration, of course, we don't have any published data available on the ready-mix concrete industry. But if you look at the market penetration, we are sitting at about 10%. And we'll be looking forward for more market penetration post-lockdown. Thank you, Mr. Anil. Over to you. You are muted, Anil. Anil, you are muted. Not able to hear you.
For having given that brief introduction of RMC industry, how it started, the mechanization over the years, the development that has taken place in terms of booms and things like that. So we will be discussing further on that. But most importantly is that when RMC produces concrete, it is basically for the users. So let us also take the user's perspective. So let me just have a question to Mr. Basavaraj, because being the user and being a structural consultant for the last 40 plus years, sir, you have introduced a lot of innovative technologies in the area of concrete itself. And I am sure that you would be the best person as a user and as a person who has interacted with number of RMC companies, to throw some light on how you are going to make a strategy to maintain some kind of social distancing, that is the mantra today at sites. Is it, how are you going to plan it, or how are you going to ask your contractors to plan it? Maybe in terms of mechanization, maybe in terms of planning. How is it that you are going to do it? Over to you, Basavaraj, sir.
Yeah, Halil, I think you'll have to correct some audio also.
Okay.
My line is, are you able to see me?
I'm able to see you. I'm able to hear you, sir. No issues.
There was some complaint that audio is not good. Just check that.
Yeah, now it's okay. We are able to hear you.
Yeah. I'm not able to see you. Okay.
Okay, no issues. But we are able to hear you. You can go on, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Now, say good afternoon to all the participants first of all.
Yes.
Day. Say odd time professionally, you want to think about it. Sometimes you think that you have forgotten engineering. That is the type of mindset people people are undergoing. It's good to remind our engineering skills and then propagate the engineering skills.
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, about RMC, I'll have to put some 2-3 events, memories of how the RMC is came through in this certain significant events where we have faced. So sometime back in maybe 90s, somebody came from RMC London. So he inquired about say whether we can work in India, whether it is possible, whether we can put RMC plants. This is how he came. I made him to sit for only 2 minutes when he came for a long discussion. I told, I'll give you one gun. So you carry it and go and shoot it. That's all what you need.
Okay.
So,
Yes, sir. Yeah, please go on. Yeah.
so that is our that was the because of the earlier exposure in international applications. So our mindset was like that. So that is one incident about RMC which has registered in our mind. Secondly, say RMC itself is an answer for social distancing, because if you are trying to do concreting with any other, say incidentally, I don't think we have done any concreting without RMC in the last 10 years. Not in any of the projects. That is the type of say we are used to it. There is nothing that we have to express so much about RMC. It's a routine factor, but there will be other issues. RMC is acceptable. RMC is a necessity for social distancing today. I think we should not encourage anywhere a manual concreting, manual mixing, especially in today's time, so that the people are safe enough to do that exercise. Secondly, I'll have to tell some incidents about how an RMC would help, say, the users in terms of. Are you able to hear me, Anil?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we are able to hear you. Perfect. Audio is perfect.
Audio, video, both are okay. Yeah. So, in the project, there was certain say interactions by the say end user, say by the owners. So there were 27 towers in one of the projects. Say they were stuck with one of the largest contractors to do the foundations for all the 27 towers. The project was 27 acres. So he came out, say, sir, find out some methodology how we can do this concreting faster and neater, and so that we can do a quicker business and a quality work at site. Then say we initiated connecting all the 27 towers by deleting the shuttering in the foundation system. There was no shuttering from one end to the other end. The ground conditions were graded and levels were trimmed to the shape of the design for all the 27 towers together, along with the grade slab. So that is how the concreting was done from one end to the other end of all the 27 towers using continuous ready-mix concrete. So this helped them to complete all the 27 towers foundation stage in, say, roughly 1.5 months to 2 months time. This was around 6-7 years back. So there was an integration of the design and the user's necessity and the ready-mix concrete. These combinations helped, say, to bring out a solution to do a good quality work at site by combining all these skills for a singular solution.
Okay.
Yes, Anil. Next question I'll answer.
No, that is very good, sir. Like, you have brought out an integrated approach between the user, between the RMC manufacturer, and by the designer as well. I think that integrated approach, which has worked wonders in the concreting of the 27 stories that you were talking about. In fact, that's a very good experience. Yeah, 27 towers. And very important thing is that you were also mentioning about the social distancing, which can be reduced by using mechanization in concreting, which is a very important point that has to be taken. From your experience, I am sure that you would be able to vouch for that. Thank you so much, sir. Now, yeah, please tell me, sir.
Anil, I mean, one photograph I always show one photograph for ready-mix concrete.
Okay.
Usage. The
All
man
right.
sits on the pump at the end.
Okay. Oh, I see.
Concrete is just poured. He goes on smoking.
All right.
He is leisurely smoking, and concrete is pouring like
Right.
water from the tap. So that's
Okay.
all what he was doing.
Oh, that much ease of concreting is what you're talking about. Yeah.
Ease of concreting was with a signal.
Okay. That's something really very
Yes, Sunil,
interesting to
go
know
ahead.
about you. Over to you, yeah, Professor Ashwath is there?
On the point.
Yeah, Dr. Ashwath? I think he's not there. He has gone offline. So over to you, Mr. Ravi Shankar. Let me just, Dr. Ashwath, are you there? I think there is some internet problem. We'll come to Dr. Ashwath later. Let me come to Mr. Ravi Shankar.
Please.
Yeah. See, the thing is that now we have listened from the user's perspective and your perspective on the industry as such. Now let me just take your views on the certification aspect of it. Whether it is in terms of whether Mr. Ashwath would be able to answer that, or would you be taking that question regarding the certification of an RMC plant in terms of both the process as well as the plant itself, because you have that RMC plant certification as well, I believe, apart from the process.
Dr. Aswath, or you want me to take it up?
Shall I go?
Yeah, please,
go
sir.
ahead, sir.
Yeah, now we are able to hear you. Please go on, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now the certification, actually, it has come a long way. The Ready-Mix Concrete Manufacturers Association has taken a lot of efforts in bringing this system of certification to this level, whatever is available right now. Before this system is handed over to the Quality Council of India, it was handled by the Ready-Mix Concrete Manufacturers Association itself for quite some time. And then the process was revived, and under the monitoring of steering committees, the system is handed over to Quality Council of India. Now, Quality Council of India monitors this system, and there are two types of certifications available as of now. One is RMC capability certification based on the RMC production control criteria. The second one is RMC 9000 plus capability certification based on the implementation of quality management systems as per ISO 9001. These two systems are there. But all the plants, majority of the plants are going for the first one, RMC capability certification based on the production control. And this is the major certification system where you have a lot of work carried out based on the inputs from the other country RMC associations and the quality standards of the other American RMC, New Zealand RMC. All these things are taken, and this system is evolved. And this detailed quality system focuses on plant and equipment, key personals which are responsible for handling the plant, concrete mix design, production, testing facilities, control on the quality of concrete ingredients, final product, delivery of the concrete from the plant to the site, control and maintenance of the process of the equipment, the calibration of the equipment, frequency of equipment. All these things are considered in evolving the quality system. In fact, there are about closely about 180 systems checklists which are considered before giving this certification. And this system is very effective, and all the plants which have taken this certification are producing a very good quality concrete, ready-mix concrete. Earlier, there were a lot of issues in concrete, and now once this certification process is in place, now all the majority of the plants are taking this certification. And once this certification is taken, 99% of the problems are taken care. And the certification is also given by the third-party auditors, certification bodies. As of now in the country, there are about 4 or 5 certification bodies, the Bureau Veritas, ICMQ, and Tata Projects. And the auditors are evaluated, certification bodies are checked, the quality and capability of these bodies are checked by the Quality Council of India. and they have been given permission to visit the plant and check the capabilities of the plant, and based on that, the certification will be given. And it is also monitored. Once certificate is given, it is also monitored frequently, and surprise visits will also be there to the plant, whether they are taking care of the all the precautions. And so this is a very good system which is available. And as Ravi Shankar was also mentioned, Mr. V.R. Kulkarni has taken a lot of initiatives in this, and under QCI, even Jose Korean and others are involved in bringing out the quality system. Over to you, Anil Kumar.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. Aswath. You had just touched upon the number of checklists, about 180, I believe what you have said, is it?
Yeah.
180 checklist is something very exhaustive, and the kind of the kind of inspection that you would be making for that, the certification would be making for giving that kind of thing is very exhaustive. And I'm sure that most of the points, as far as the process and the plant capability is concerned, it would be taken care of. That's really very interesting to know about that. And I'm sure that users will also get the quality concrete. Now over to you, Mr. Ravi Shankar. Just a brief overview. Yes, sir. Yes, you wanted to tell something.
Add a couple of more points to Dr. Aswath.
Yeah,
this is a very, very robust system. Okay. Even after the audit is done, once in 6 months, auditors visit the plant and go through all the checklist. And again, if there are any non-conformities, again, non-conformities are classified into critical, major, and minor non-conformities. Okay. And also, auditors are free to go through 5 last orders over the past 3 months, pick up those orders and check what was requested for and what has been delivered. That sort of complete freedom is available to the auditors to check. What I'm just trying to say, this is not just another certification. This is a very, very robust and very important certification for the ready-mix concrete plant. The process certification and not the product certification.
Yeah, very, very interesting to know that, because when we interact with RMC organizations also, we are also concerned about the quality of concrete that our customer makes. And this kind of certification, I am sure, will help them to make a very good quality concrete. And now, just to have an overview from you, Mr. Ravi Shankar, what are the broad guidelines, that an RMC unit must follow to make a consistent quality concrete? Because from batch to batch, is there a risk of changes? How is it that you are trying to, a manufacturer can reduce the variation in quality of the concrete from batch to batch?
Thank you, Dil. Though concrete looks very simple, it's a very complex material. And since many stakeholders are involved in finally arriving at the final expected properties of the concrete, the materials are important, plant and machineries, technical manpower, and entire system process, like what Dr. Aswath has mentioned now. And if you look at the materials, the selection of the material, the source of the materials, checks on all incoming raw materials for acceptance or the rejection, and routine tests on all raw materials. Example, chemical admixtures. If you look at the cement is one product that we consume before we get the. But most of the other raw materials, we must check it before we actually use it. For example, chemical admixture, I would say every batch of admixture shall be checked even before using it in the production, though you are getting the manufacturer certificate. And plant and machineries, preventive maintenance of the plant and machineries. Calibration, though it is done at a particular frequency, we must do the scale checks on a weekly basis and fortnightly basis for different scales like cement, water scales, and aggregates scales. And checking the moisture content on a daily basis, maybe once or twice depending on the season. And checking the yield test on a daily basis, ensuring that the consistent quality and also the quantity is maintained. Weighment of the transit mixers on the weigh bridge, because most of the plants has got weigh bridges in the plant. And also verification of the cycle data, autographic record on a regular basis. If there's any variations that we need to analyze. And technical manpower, trained manpower, because if we just have the materials and the machineries, that's not good enough unless we have good trained technical people. And of course, today, entire concrete industry is struggling to find good concrete engineers, actually. Then entire system, because even if you have all these, if you don't have proper system in place, then certainly you'll not be able to get the consistent quality material. So all of these above will only help in producing a consistent quality product. Once the concrete is produced, again the transportation, ensure that there is no addition of water during the transit and when the transits are waiting at sites. So that's very important. And placing and right compaction and taking care of the early curing and late age curing. So all these multiple factors ultimately will help in producing a consistent quality product.
Yeah, that is very. That was a very. You're able to hear me?
Yes, please.
In fact, you had just touched upon the various precautions that need to be taken for making a consistent quality concrete in terms of testing of the raw materials, transportation of concrete itself, and most importantly, defining the properties of concrete as well. I think that's a very good thing. Now, let me just find out from the user's perspective. Let me go over to Mr. Basavaraj just to find out. As a user, sir, what would be your expectation from the concrete? It could be from mostly if you buy from an RMC manufacturer. What are your broad expectations from an RMC unit? If you have something, if you can list it down. These are my expectations that need to be fulfilled.
Very, very, very nice question from the perspective of the designers. I think there are a lot of participants from the designer side as well from the user side. A designer or a user specifies in the bill of quantities only about the grade of concrete. So only a grade of concrete. He doesn't specify exact cement content or add mixture or cementitious materials. So there would be a detailed specification documents. But what you expect from RMC is everything is taken care by RMC people. Every material is tested. Every cement is of good quality. Admixture is of good quality. There won't be any concreting problems. There is no early setting problems. There are no early shrinkage problems. All these expectations are hidden by these consultants or by the users. So these end users are only under an expectation. Not many times at a stage of handling all this or solving all this or understanding the material science or understanding the quality production. So they are not participants into this aspect. They are only expectants. So this is what is required. So when RMJ has got any producer of has a huge responsibility towards the mixed design, monitoring the mixed design, monitoring the quality materials, monitoring all the aspects of concrete, so that at the end you get a good quality concrete. Yes, Anil.
Yes, that's a very good thing that you have listed down the expectations from the user's perspective and the dilemmas that you face, both from the designer's perspective on how exactly the concrete that is being delivered at the site meets the design specification. That is more.
Yeah. Yes,
We have spoken about the certification. We have spoken about the RMC industry as such. Let me just go over to Dr. Aswath just to find out that since this certification has been introduced with all this 180 checks and balances, do you think what is the feedback from the consultants about the certification scheme as such? Is it really practically working? What are their views on this?
Sir, when the efforts were initiated by the ready-mix concrete industry, the manufacturer association, there are very few companies there involved in this quality conscious production. And there are a lot of ready-mix concrete plants available in the country, and not all of them are a part of this group. And slowly, everyone is getting into this quality production system. And when this QCI concept was introduced, RMCMA made conscious efforts to meet all the consultants and other stakeholders to take their opinion and feedback. And this system was explained meeting one-to-one in all the consultants' office and also to the builders. A lot of roundtable meetings were conducted, and the system was explained to the consultants. And they were very appreciative of the efforts of the ready-mix concrete industry, and they gave full support. And in fact, many of the consultants across the country have shown extreme happiness for this quality system. And they have also noticed the considerable improvements in the quality and the conscious efforts made by the industry players on this, and they have supported. And in fact, many of the major consultants have included this in their specifications, including the government and legal bodies. They've included this quality system is a mandatory for using the concrete, including PWD SR. They have mentioned this quality system of certification is mandatory, and the contractors should use concrete produced only through the QCI certified plants. And many of the manufacturers also getting into the fold of this QCI certification, and they're also getting certified by the certified bodies of the QCI.
Anil, you're muted.
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yeah. Now there is a question from the participant, from the attendees regarding, we are certifying the manufacturing as well as management aspects of an RMC plant. But what about the quality of concrete actually delivered at site? Is it documented? Should it not be documented, or is it being done as part of the certification process? Because what is more important is the quality of concrete that is being delivered at the site.
No, quality of concrete, see, if all the systems involved in the manufacture of the concrete are taken care, then automatically the outcome should be good. The process of certification involves checking the plant and machinery, frequency of the testing equipments, manufacturing equipments, calibration of the indicators, everything. And the quality testing of the raw materials also, starting from the aggregates, everything is tested. And then the plant has the capability of all that, then only the certification is given to the plant. So 99%, almost 100%, everything is taken care. And if a plant has got the capability of having all this in place, definitely will produce a good quality of concrete. So there is no necessary for checking again. And the checking of the cubes is also taken care. The frequency of checking, depending on the magnitude of the concrete ordered, the concrete produced will be checked at the plant. And if necessary, the user can send their engineers to the plant and be a witness for all this quality process. So,
but he was basically concerned about tampering of concrete between the site and the plant, which even Mr. Ravi Shankar was mentioning about, what could happen between the plant and the site. Would you like to add something on that, Mr. Ravi Shankar? You were about to add something?
What I was just trying to say is this is a process certification. It's not a product certification, actually.
Right.
Like Dr. Aswath has mentioned, if a plant is certified as per this QCI quality scheme, which is a very robust scheme, the plant has a capability to produce consistent quality of concrete, thousands and thousands cubic meters of concrete. It has a capability to produce it. That's one point. And as per the placing of concrete is concerned, that's excluded from this scheme because it's not a product certification. Also, other point I would like to add is when Dr. Aswath has mentioned that the specification is done in the government and the private sector also. Many projects are included in this tender specification that concrete should be procured from the certified plant as per the QCI quality scheme. But I would say there's still a lot of push has to happen from the consultant side and in the specification from the government bodies also. It also needs to get specified in the Central Public Works Department, and RMCMA was trying to get it incorporated in CPWD specification. Because we keep seeing now today, if you look at the ready-mix concrete scenario, lot of issues are still coming up from many corners across the country in terms of lower strength of concrete supplied. And when we talk about finalizing the supplier, we users don't take these aspects into consideration. Yes, certainly price is important, everything is fine, but I would say first selection criteria should be to buy concrete only from the certified plants. So please shortlist the concrete plants which are certified as per QC quality scheme, which is close to your target sites. Then you negotiate so that elimination the other doubts which are in the mind is completely taken care of.
Now let me just come to the user's perspective again. We have the RMC set. Yes, you want to add some point?
Yes, sir. Yes. Just before we move on to the next question, I would like to ask you one question.
All right.
For the participants.
Okay.
I mentioned earlier that before we get the cement test results, cement has been consumed in the concrete industry.
Okay.
Unlike other raw materials like fine aggregate or chemical admixture. How do you ensure that you supply consistent quality cement to the concrete industry?
Okay, that is a very important question. On the cement manufacturing side, I think we need to address this question on how we are taking steps, because we are supplying to number of RMC units across the country wherever we operate. And one thing that we have noticed is that ready-mix concrete need to produce a consistent quality concrete, for which a consistent quality cement is the order of the day, because without a consistent quality cement, it's not possible. So one thing that we do is that we always say that if you fix a type of cement, you have it that for a particular grade of concrete, you fix the source also. Like say, for example, if you are supplying from a particular plant, that source can be this thing. That is one thing. Second thing is that in all our plants, to maintain a consistent quality cement, what we are doing is that right from the raw material sourcing, right from the raw material storage, we have what you call the stacker reclaimer, which reduces the variation in the quality of raw material, that is limestone and all that what is there. So we have the stacker reclaimer, and then when it goes to the further process of cement manufacturing, say for example, we would be having vertical roller mill, and all this, when it comes out of all this equipment, we need to look at the particle size distribution of cement apart from fineness. That is more important, because we are looking at the particle size distribution of cement from the perspective of cement admixture compatibility, because that is one thing which ready-mix concrete is facing a challenge as always, because sometimes you transport concrete for more than 2.5 to 3 hours. So in that aspect, what we do is that we have a research center, Ramco Research Development Center, where we test both the cement as well as the concrete grade. We make the concrete mix design also at our center to see how it is behaving with chemical admixtures. So when we have the results of concrete tested at RRDC, when we have the various parameters of the cement that is being tested from our plant on a regular basis, we are able to maintain that consistency in quality. Especially from Bangalore, there are so many RMC plants. Some of them transport for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. There are 3 hours plus also in some cases. And you could just imagine the kind of variety of admixtures also that is coming into play, because you have admixtures of different chemical bases. So what we have done is that we had sourced all those chemicals that is available at the market, and we have also done the trial at our RRDC to tell that this is compatible with admixture A, this is not compatible with admixture B. So when we are able to give that kind of information to the users, the RMC units, they are very clear about that. That is one thing from the user's perspective that we are trying to do. Thanks for that question, and we have been able to ensure consistency. And you can also get the cement certificate for a period of 6 months, 7 months to see how the variations are there in as far as the quality of the cement is concerned. And you would find that the standard deviation of cement is too less. So that kind of measures are being implemented. So that's a very good question.
That's very nice. Thanks.
Now coming to the user's perspective, because we have been talking about certification, we have been talking about how to maintain quality of concrete. So when it comes to after the concrete is being delivered at the site, Aswath sir would be able to explain that in a much better fashion. After the concrete is delivered at the site itself, what kind of precautions would you suggest to the users who have logged in today to ensure that the concrete, that good quality concrete would be delivered at the site? But what is it that you would be doing, say for example, early curing, when the temperature is very high, duration of curing, how prolonged the curing has to be done, what kind of compacting equipments are being used. Apart from the quality of concrete, I mean to say these are all very important measures that need to be taken at the site to ensure that the concrete that is there at the structure is also good quality. So what are those points which you would recommend to all the users, sir?
Yeah, Anil. See, it's a stage where you have delivered everything. You are the consumer. If you eat it, you take the whole responsibility, and then the rest of the foods are based on that. So when a material is delivered at site, it becomes a responsibility of the team at site to identify whether it is acceptable, what time it was produced, how long it has been on the transit, and then what is the current flow of the material, whether it is slump or free flow. So these are the first initial measures what the team has to identify, whether it is acceptable, whether it can say go ahead, site people, whether it can be poured. Say pouring is other preparations are his role. When the material is delivered at site, it's the responsibility of the team head to identify what is the time produced and what is the free flow. And secondly, say when you are using a vibrator or you are not using a vibrator. These are the two important aspects when you start using the concrete. If you are on a vibratable concrete, that means where you need to vibrate. So your preparation is you have to measure the slump, vertical slump. So those measures is a must, whether it is very hard, already set, green concrete is in usable stage. So those are the identifications to be initially evaluated, because right now at that stage, you cannot test the strength. He has assumed that you have produced good quality concrete. So that is how the trust has come to this thing, and the responsibility is with this man. So at this stage, he can only measure the time of production and the transit stage and the slump. So if these are assured, then you can pour the concrete, assuming that the right quality is produced. So that means these initial measures is a must before he starts using the concrete.
Okay. I think initial measures like compaction, curing and all is very much critical to ensure that the concrete is of good quality. Now let me come back again to Ravi Shankar sir for some of the being in the RMC industry for such a long time. You would be aware of some of the common challenges the users always say, some of the common complaints or some of the common concerns. So what are those concerns that users normally specify to the RMC manufacturers as far as the quality of concrete is concerned?
Thank you. Normally, if you look at, there are some 3-4 common complaints that are there in the ready-mix concrete industry. One, I would say a short measure, that's a quantity variation. Second is compressive strength, low results. Third is a shrinkage, and sometimes, very rarely, delayed setting in concrete. If a proper system is place, like the guidelines that I have discussed in earlier, if all these things are in place, there are very, very less chance of getting into any such issues. If at all, if there is a problem, and a ready-mix concrete company receives such, they need to analyze, for example, a short measure complaint. They need to first verify materials are batched. Is it as per the design or any variation in that? Whether the scale calibrations are being done as per the frequency and all the scales are in order. Yield test, what has been batched is if it is delivered is the same. If it is 1 cubic meter, how do you ensure that it is 1 cubic meter? Yield test as per the Indian standards code is one test that need to be conducted, and randomly weigh the transit mixes on the weigh bridge, so that you have got enough and more data to verify if there's a short measure complaint. And similarly, if there's a low compressive strength results, again, most of these cycle data need to be verified, and scale checks need to be done, and with the sampling and testing of concrete sample and testing of the concrete cubes are done in order. And if it's shrinkage cracks, we have many of the participants must have already attended the webinar which is conducted recently on the cracks in the concrete. And as far as the shrinkage cracks is concerned, taking care of the early curing is very, very crucial. Once the early curing is, even in case if you observe any cracks in the early ages, finishing those cracks and starting the early sprinkling of the water on the concrete surface in the early ages is very important, and continue to do the curing at late ages till 28 days is very important, which plays a major role in minimizing the shrinkage cracks as well as increasing the strength of the concrete. And delayed setting of the concrete is, again, you need to verify that whether the right amount of admixture was batched initially in the concrete plant, and if so, whether the scale is in order. And third is, during the transit or at the concrete at the project site, whether additional admixture has been added actually. So all these things need to be studied before you arrive at this point. So these are 3-4 common complaints that we ready-mix concrete industry keeps seeing.
I think one of the commonest complaint, as you rightly mentioned, was the shrinkage crack. Yes, Basavaraj sir, you wanted to say something?
I think two important aspects, because you touched on the usage of concrete at site. I missed some points. Say first, so many times engineers take it for granted. Something is ordered, something is being poured.
Okay.
They will not know what grade of concrete is being sent or what grade of concrete is should be used.
Okay.
So these mismatch creates the greatest problems which are repetitive in site. So you ask for M40, RNG people would have sent M30. Or some other batch to go to another site would have reached here. So insurance of the grade of concrete at site is a primary requirement or basic requirement of the usage before you just pour it. The man should know that this is the grade of concrete being poured and this matches with the design requirement. So especially vertical elements, horizontal elements always would have one grade concrete, and the junctions, then the vertical elements, the grade of concrete in a tall building would be varying from floor to floor. So these aspects precautionarily has to be identified. Second is the temperature. Somebody also, some participant mentioned the temperature has to be identified. So what should be the right temperature? Then the curing aspects, I will take subsequently how the shrinkage cracks can be dealt. You please go ahead.
Okay, that was nice. The thing, because the common problem that, as rightly pointed out, Mr. Ravi Shankar, was the shrinkage cracks during summer season, for which adequate measures have to be taken as far as curing is concerned. Now, coming to Aswath sir, there are some questions which has been put up by the construction professionals who have logged in. There are two questions. One question is, do you think training is required by experts to site engineers? That is one question. And there is one more question which is relating to that, which says that what if the contractor itself is not aware of the quality of concrete? How do we ensure? Now you have two ends. The contractor being not aware of the quality of concrete. The second thing is, do you think training is required by experts for the site engineers at the field so that such problems can be sorted out?
Sir, in fact, we are from the last almost 10 years promoting the concept of quality among the construction industry professionals. Many of the consultants doesn't know the concrete coming out of an RMC plant will be a good concrete or bad concrete. Because they just simply believe that concrete, if it is coming from a RMC plant, it is good. And surprisingly, there are hundreds of RMC plants which are not at all conscious about the quality. So that's why we started making it mandatory to use concrete from a QCI certified concrete plant. Now, concrete plant licenses are taken by anybody who has got some quantity of money. It is not though. They are not, many of them are not bothered about the quality. When the client starts negotiating on the price, they will compromise on the quality. So there are many issues. As Ravi Shankar was mentioning, the RMCMA and a group of quality conscious manufacturers have come together and discuss threadbare about this, and that's why the process manufacturing process certification is done by the QCI. Once the process is taken care, then automatically the concrete produced through such plants will become easy. So wow, the product may be good, but how it should be used at the site, again, it depends on the site engineers and the project engineers. If they are not properly trained to use the concrete, then the whole point of certification, everything will goes for a short. That's why the training is absolutely necessary. Now, the certification takes care of the training of the personnel within the plant. But training for the people at the site is also very, very important. And again, the engineers are involved and the labor force is involved using the concrete. All that training is also very, very important. In fact, Indian Concrete Institute has also taken up some efforts in training the people who handle the concrete and other things. In fact, BMTPC, Building Promotion Council, Material Council, they have also taken a lot of initiatives. In fact, this QCI handbook, everything on the process, detailed process is also brought out by the BMTPC. So there are many agencies which were trying to train the people. So finally, if the consumer, the user, if he becomes aware about the quality and he becomes conscious about the quality, then automatically he can demand from the contractor, from the consultant, then automatically everything will be taken care. The professional associations like ACC, we constantly keep organizing the training programs, seminars, workshops to upgrade the knowledge base of the stakeholders, so that the good practices can be emulated. In fact, this system of certification of the plant itself is a huge effort by the RMCME organization. The present office bearers, Mr. K. Jain, and there are some at the headquarters, some people are there, Mr. Kamath and Mr. Tambe is also newly come into the organization. They are also taking a lot of follow-up actions. In fact, there is another training initiative by the RMCMA itself, along with the American Concrete RMCA Association and RMCA. They have developed the Concrete Technologist India program, CTI program. So under this CTI program also, the people involved in the manufacturing as well as in the usage at this trained. So recently we conducted one program at Bangalore under this CTI, Concrete Technologist India. So there are a lot of efforts taken by the association and the professional bodies for training the professionals. So if everybody becomes conscious about the quality, then the problems associated with it will definitely reduce, Anil.
That's a very important point. In fact, one of our speakers during one of the earlier webinars, they were just mentioning, he was just making a point saying that learning is a continuous process. Let us not look at our qualification and stop learning. And he was making a point that every site is different, challenges are different. So the ability of ours to learn from different situation, that takes us a long way. And any kind of challenges that will come up also can be redressed. Yes, Basavara sir, you wanted to make some point?
Yeah. Frequently noticed a problem in ready-mix concrete at site. I'll have to elaborate for the benefit of all the participants.
Sure.
These are pre-concreting arrangements, material science, production, transport, reaching the site. Everything is a pre-arrangement. After you pour, what you face at site is a routine problem, especially in the horizontal elements, in the slabs. The slabs in the horizontal elements, they routinely crack because of the early shrinkage. This happens between 5 hours after concreting to 6 hours after concreting. That 1 hour or 2 hours period, when the heat of evolution comes out of concrete, especially when the top surface of the concrete is not in one level. That means there are ridges and valleys within the surface of the concrete. Ridges loses the water.
Okay.
Valleys collect the water which has come out of concrete. So these ridges, because it is dry now, when the evolution of heat is coming out, so the shrinkage happens around those areas, and automatically you will get cracks. Cracks. The shrinkage cracks will be through and through from top to the bottom of the thickness of the slab. So when it dries up, you pour water, it leaks through. And 90% of the people, either from the clients or from the site engineers or from any other than the designers, will not be familiar with why this crack has happened. So everybody thinks it is a structural crack. Oh, it has cracked. So there is a blame game which begins at that point. And there will be a lot of correspondence through emails and then writings. Yes, this has cracked. So nobody tries to understand. So this has to be educated by proper RMC people who are supplying concrete. Sir, you will get this crack if you are not taking care of this. The simple attendance for that is after 5 to 6 hours, wherever you get dry patches of say surfaces, you put a cement slurry, you rub it, so put that in this format, say rub it over the surface and the cracks get closed. This is one of the simplest solutions to be practiced as a part of the say, systems of higher grade concrete. This happens generally from M30 grade onwards anywhere, from all the grades concrete. There is no blame game either from the RNC people or from the designers. It is the material behavior which happens because of the heat of evolution from cement hydration.
That is a very important point, sir. So you were making a point that we need to reduce the heat of hydration within concrete itself. So keeping that in mind, we also need to, yes, we also need to take.
It's a different part of the material science, sir. But once you identify a material science and you produce concrete, from that point of view, this is the problem to be attained at that site.
That's a very important point. Now, coming to Mr. Ravi Shankar, one of the participants had raised a question saying that, we are at the RMC plant, the testing is going on a regular basis and all that. But what if, we make it compulsory for having a third-party certification as well? Because third-party certification of concrete would help. That is one of the opinion that is being voiced out by the participant. And I'm sure that third-party certification is also included in the certification process, I believe. Can you throw some light over that?
Is he talking about third-party certification for the casting the cubes and testing the cubes?
For the concrete, that is third-party certification at regular intervals.
So if when you are buying the concrete from the certified plants, which is a third-party certification, QC quality scheme itself is a third-party certification. So everything is taken care there actually.
Okay. Now I'll just read out the question for clarification. It says end users will be happy if concrete suppliers can submit the third-party testing of their design mixes at least quarterly, so that we can rest assured. Can this be included in part of process certification is what he is mentioning.
All the designers will be relieved. Sorry.
The design of this concrete mixes submission on quarterly basis from the third party. So that doesn't really help actually, to be honest. Please.
No, their doubt is on the quality of the concrete by means of cubes. So that is the one of the measure. But the QCI certification is a major certification for the entire plant and machinery. So if that is taken care, this cube certification by third party can be done automatically. But it is included in the part of the certification itself. The certification again there will be a surprise visits to the plant, and the auditors will verify whether the complete process is maintained or not. If at any point of time, if the plant is not maintaining the quality checklist, then automatically the name of the company will turn red in the QCI website. So that is the kind of control that this QCI certification has got. So apart from that, if a particular user they insist for third-party cube certification, that left to the individual plants and supplier to take care of it. But as such, part of the certification, there will be a separate testing facility in the plant itself for frequently testing the cubes from the manufactured concrete within the plant itself. So that part thing is already taken care.
Now, from the user's perspective, can I come to Basavaraj sir for one very important question that has been asked, like regarding early de-shuttering. What is your opinion about early de-shuttering of structural components? That is one thing. And how do we ensure durability also? That I think probably can be taken up by Vishankar sir. But what about this early shuttering, de-shuttering, which is sometimes a dilemma?
Early shuttering can be designed. So you produce, suppose you want to de-shutter after 3 days. There is a structural behavior at that 3 days. There is a loading known. There is a strength known. There is a factor of safety known. Based on that, you identify after 3 days you want to de-shutter element, especially in the horizontal elements. If you want to de-shutter after 3 days, or even say after 48 hours, if you are on that type of a sense of urgency onto the say production of building products, then at that time for the loading required for the behavior of the structure, you identify what is the grade of concrete to be produced, which produces after 48 hours this much of strength. So this can be established and practiced. There is nothing big in this, but you have to know, yes, you can produce M30 grade concrete and use as M20 grade concrete. Simple format. Correct. So M30 grade concrete will say at 3 days strength, what is the strength required, whether it satisfies the dead load and also the marginal load.
I think that's a very valid point because we have also been asked so many questions on the rate of gain of strength of concrete for de-shuttering. A very valid point made by Basavaraj sir is saying that if you want to de-shutter, go in for the required strength of concrete and ensure that the strength of concrete is gained at the site. So that is, I think that has to be incorporated in the planning stage itself.
It does not apply to vertical elements because vertical elements does not need the de-shuttering strength. It is a 24. It is a surface damage prevention. That is the minimum requirement. So for vertical elements, whether it is M20 grade concrete or M80 grade concrete, is the same. Philosophy is same for de-shuttering. It is the 24 hours de-shuttering. So when you are trying to remove the surfaces, so you are safe enough to not to do any damage to the surface. So only horizontal elements are covered.
Mr. Anil, before you go on to the next question,
please. Yes, sir.
Can you, Mr. Anil, share your experience as a cement manufacturer, your experience with the ready-mix concrete companies?
Okay, that is you had asked a very difficult question. In fact, we have had experiences with number of RMC units in the state of Kerala, Karnataka, Odisha, West Bengal, and let me tell you, the experiences in each of the state has been different. Like say, for example, when we get from Karnataka is mostly relating to challenges relating to slump retention. Because they are able to get the strength. What about slump retention? Can I transport my concrete for more than 3 hours? Is it possible? That is where we brought in a new type brand of cement which is called Ramco OPC 53 Infra for getting slump retention beyond 3 hours. That is where we have gone. Now, if you go to a state like say, for example, Odisha or West Bengal, there the usage of blended cements or blending material is very common. Unlike say, for example, South, there the RMC manufacturers itself are using blended cement itself in RMC units, which you would be knowing. I'm sure that when you are going to the RMC plants there, you would be knowing much better the practices between the East India as well as South India. Whereas if you take, say, for example, Kerala and Tamil Nadu is concerned, they would not be they would not need so much slump retention as, say, for example, that is needed in Bangalore. Maybe because of the traffic conditions and things like that. So these are some of the things that we have understood from the concrete users, and we have been able to. What we have done is that we have created a questionnaire, wherein as Basavaraj is telling, let us not confine to grade of concrete alone. Let us look at the workability of concrete in first state. Let us look at what is the chemical admixture that is going to be used. And workability at 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes, 120 minutes, things like that. Is there any special, like say, for example, early strength? There could be some structures which would need 1 day strength, higher strength. So is a special requirement needed? Self-compacting concrete may be a different ballgame altogether as compared to normal concrete. So we try to understand all these requirements, and we have seen that many of the RMC units have been able to overcome these challenges. But this remains, when they make concrete. So these are some of our experiences that we had when we collected with number of RMC supplies. Now, now there are some questions from the professionals who have logged in. One question which says that many sites are price conscious, not willing to understand the quality. Just they believe on cube results. Any remarks from your side? Yes, sir. Yeah, please.
No, before you jump onto, because you will get into that activity, because there is one important aspect which I have to say put across to all the end say
Yes, sir.
participants.
Okay.
I am a big advocate of removing the vibrator from the industry.
Okay.
I am a big advocate.
Okay.
So there are enough reasons in my experiences that you should remove the vibrator from concreting.
All right.
From others, so that I put forward my thoughts onto why it should be removed.
Any response from your side, sir? Ravi Shankar, sir? Removal of vibrator from the concreting itself. That is what you were telling, no, sir?
Yeah.
Compaction is not required. Maybe self-compacting concrete is what you're
Absolutely. Self-dynamic concrete, self-compacting concrete. So these things should completely eliminate the use of vibration.
Okay.
Provided you have the right formwork.
I think, can I add a point here?
Yes, sir, please.
Mr. G.S. Baswaraj has become a scientist these days. He is doing a lot of experiments with the
Grown beard.
things. We can expect something more from this young scientist in the days to come. But as of now, the vibrator is in many of the sites, it is eliminated. People have started using the high performance concretes and self-compacting concretes. In addition to that, I was also going through some of the questions. The main concern is concrete manufactured at site, concrete used at the concrete manufactured at the RMC plant, concrete manufactured in the site with the plant setup at the site, and how to use the concrete in the site. So there are three different aspects, and every aspect has to be taken care exclusively by the consultants, and consultants should guide the respective people to handle the concrete properly. It may be manufactured excellently, but if it is not used properly, then it goes for a toss. If the transportation time exceeds 2 hours and if the admixtures are not controlled properly, then the concrete will have issues. So there are a lot of things. So one of the question is by Mr. Somshekhar says the training for the contractor. We always give training for the engineers, but many of the contractors are not engineers. So in such cases, special training to the contractor is also required. So there are many things. Everything depends on the training. Once you are aware of the problems, then automatically you become more sensitive. So we have to teach sensitivity to handle the concrete to all the people who are meddling with the concrete. So that is the most important thing. And consultants have a major role to play, and architects have a major role to play. You cannot ask anybody to use concrete. Concrete looks very simple, but it is a very complex material. So unless we learn to handle the concrete, a very old material, 200 plus years old material, if we have not learned how to handle the concrete, then it becomes very difficult. That too, especially when we are talking about high-grade concretes and special performing concretes, we have to be very careful about it, and consultants should give specific instructions to the people who are handling the concrete, both at the plant and at the site. And the certification, I would like to stress once again, the certification process, there are many RMC manufacturers. I request all the viewers, the listeners, to insist concrete only from the certified players. If they were concrete that you are using from a plant which is not certified, please explain the importance of certification and then convert those manufacturing plants to get the certification. So we have to increase the number of certified plants in the country, then automatically quality will become easy to handle. So unless the plants get certified, then all these 187 checkpoints that I was talking about, if that is taken care, then many of the issues which we are facing will become easy. So that way, the certification becomes very, very important. And the process of certification is also not very complicated. It's very simple. Anybody can log into QCI website or the RMCMA website. You'll get the links to all the process and TPC website. You'll get a detailed handbook which covers all these process of certification. Then the manufacturer can easily spend some time and allot a particular person to handle all these issues. Then you can start applying for the certification process through the certifying bodies. Then once you are through, then many of these issues that we are talking about will be eliminated automatically. I think I insist all the small time manufacturers of RMC, please go through the QCI certification process and get certified. Thereby, you will also get recognition that as a quality manufacturer. So that is also very, very important for building the brand for yourself.
Sir, Basavara sir, there is a question from one of the participants. He's saying that Basavara sir told that vibrator has to be removed from the site. Can you ask him the reason for why he should remove vibrator from the site? Any particular reason, sir?
See, these are very, very, very simple processes which you have to take it ahead. Say, forget about self-compacting words like self-compacting concrete and all. Let us talk about simple free flow concrete, where instead of a slum, you measure the flow, which is 500 mm to 700 mm based on the thickness of the element, whether it is vertical, whether it is horizontal, based on that. These are the simple procedures. For this, only the modification is only the mixed design, especially in the. So you make that flow. Once all plants are familiar with making a horizontal flow measure, everybody is familiar, because the customers are not asking, you produce where. So if you are able to reach the bottom, you can produce a full height 3-meter height shuttering. Roof and vertical elements cannot be done at all. Requirement is use free flow concrete. If you use a free flow concrete, you don't need vibrator. If you avoid a vibrator, you are able to produce a better quality of concrete. It is like filling a tank with water. So you fill the shuttering with concrete. There are no differences. So if you adopt this philosophy, we have tried since 5 to 6 years. We have almost brought down the vibratable concrete to 10% only in our office. Okay. So these are the specifications we incorporate into the tenders. We take the clients into confidence. We take the contractor into confidence. If you take this approach, people can sit and get their quality of concrete. And more easier. To use a vibrator, you have to be conscious. You should not use a vibrator for a longer period. Then there is a segregation. The aggregates will come up, water will go down. So there will be a graded level based, reverse, sorry. Aggregates will go down based on the high density of the material. Water will flow up. So in view of this, we have practiced even in government projects, largest of the large government projects, which were running for 5 to 6 years on large housing projects. We have initiated, taken the officials into confidence, and then brought this philosophy. It has worked very well. And after that, it has become a phenomenon. So this is what,
something, yeah.
So this is what Aswath has to initiate even in QCI. Whereas the plant should produce only, say, free flow concretes. Why should you bring in a vibrator? When there is a free flow concrete, any element it will fill. Yes, sir, I will stop at that point.
That's a very valid point made by you, sir. Like, removing vibrator and ensuring free flow concrete at all sites. And you have been practicing, you said. That's
throw the vibrator.
Very interesting to note that. And now coming
throw
to
the vibrator out of sight.
Okay.
That is only to hit the point.
Now coming to Ravi Shankar ji, because there is one question which has been asked about the redosage of admixture, while transporting concrete. or addition of water after the concrete is made, which is very dangerous. One particular question is about redosing of admixtures. What are your views on that?
Yeah, first point is strictly addition of water is not that all the concrete engineers knows that water cement ratio should not be altered. As far as the redosing is concerned, certainly it is allowed redosing of admixture if required at site. Most of the concrete normally is designed for about 2 to 3 hours in the ready-mix concrete industry. And if it goes beyond 3 hours, certainly workability increase is required, whereby redosing of admixture is required. But redosing of admixture cannot be left to the transit mixer drivers or pump operators. Only trained technicians only have to do this job. In the plant, when the concrete mix design is done, admixtures are designed normally with a 0.5 to 0.8% by weight of cement. And as per the manufacturer's test certificate, we know the maximum dosage of admixture can be used, which will cause beyond that, which will cause secondary side effects like a delayed setting in the concrete. So at site, if it is required, say 0.1% or 0.2% redosing of admixture can be done. But before that, the technician need to go upon the transit mixer and assess how much of concrete is left over in the concrete. Out of 6 cubic meters, only 4 cubic meters must have been already used, only 2 cubic meters is there. Accordingly, work out that admixture required for that particular 2 cubic meters of admixture and use it. It's allowed.
Yeah, because one more question had come. What if the concrete does not set beyond 3 hours, 3 days? There was a question on concrete not being set even beyond 3 days. Could it be because of excess admixture content?
Certainly, looks like it's big. Of course, this needs to be investigated in detail. But on the surface, if I need to comment, it's certainly because of the overdosage of admixture. And if the concrete is not set for 3 days, we don't know the level of admixture that is gone into the concrete, and we don't know whether the concrete is going to set. Probably, if required, maybe it's better to take out the concrete and then redo the concrete again. So it need to be verified, like I mentioned earlier. Need to go through the cycle data, go through the scale checks, everything, and what redosing of admixture is done at site, who has done everything need to be investigated before we come to the conclusion.
Sir, I would take a point here.
Yeah.
These kind of problems, all these kind of problems are raised by the viewers, are automatically handled by procuring concrete from a certified plant. Because if you look at go through the detail, the checklist, auditors
180 checklist that you were mentioning. Yeah.
No, all these points are taken care. All these points are taken care because this compatibility of admixture, it can happen at the site, or if the time exceeds 2 hours, then it will be added, slight amount of admixtures will be added. Who will add the admixture? Normally, if you observe, the drivers will add the admixture. So there is no proper training. So if a certified plant concrete is supplied, then all these issues are taken care. The people engaging the delivery of concrete are also trained. So there will be a proper mechanism to handle all these kind of issues. And most common problems which we face in procuring the concrete will be taken care by the certification process, because certification, it is complete, starting from raw materials to delivery of concrete to the site. All the aspects, wherever we can come across errors, problems, all those problems are addressed in this process certification. And therefore, I can assure the 99% of the problems will be taken care if you get a concrete from the certified plant. And even after that, if you get a point, then if it can be notified, and immediately that kind of plants will be become red in the Quality Council of India's website. Therefore, they're very conscious about the quality. In fact, all these certified concrete players, they have an exclusive one coordinator, and they manufacture. There is a separate committee called as Awareness Building Committee, RABC. The quality promotion committee, they are normally keep tracking all these kind of issues and immediately address if it is a problem of a certified concrete plant or if it is from some other plant. So all these things, a lot of work going on behind this scene. Even though RMC industry is not looking very great, cement industry is looking great, but RMC industry is not very great because people are not getting the concrete from the certified plants, because there are a lot of players. So unless people become quality conscious and get concrete from the certified plants, people continue to get problems in the concrete. There are more than 60% of the concrete produced by the unorganized sector. So they don't know what is quality. So if you get concrete from such players, so what is the guarantee? What kind of quality we are talking about? So the consultants, the architects, the engineers, the site people, the owners, the users should be aware of all this. We spend a lot of money on building our structures, and if we don't care about the quality, then what are we talking about? We keep on talking about these kind of issues only. Can't we handle these properly by taking care of using proper concrete? I think time has come to stop talking about the problems and immediately attend to it. Where is this root cause for all these issues?
So that's a very valid point made by Ashwath sir. We need to take action rather than talk about it. Very good point. Now that we have exceeded the time limit, let me come to Basavaraj sir as his final, conclusion. The message that you would like to leave the viewers with. Any final parting comments, sir, before we go off the line? Basavaraj sir.
To say put across and give a message.
Okay.
Towards the RMC. Say I advocate the RMC plants also to produce free flow concrete.
All right.
I advocate users also to specify free flow concrete out of experience, out of simplicity, out of less problems being faced. So I initiate through this panel discussion, a free flow concrete as an idea to be initiated, because not many. We have been using around 90% of the work projects. So that is the level of, say, acquaintance. So they are used to it. One job where we had specified free flow concrete, they had not arranged the vibrator at all. But RMC people sent the regular concrete. So that day the concreting was stopped.
Okay.
So this is only a small this thing. So once that was the type of acquaintance that you don't need a vibrator. If you are not vibrating, you are producing 200% better quality concrete if you use free flow concrete.
That's a very valid thing, and you made a very important insight about free flow. Okay.
Really dense concrete. It will give you less problems as far as leakages are concerned, because you are producing a dense concrete.
A free flow concrete which is impermeable, which is dense, which is cohesive. That is more important.
Uniform density is produced at site. So some area will not be honeycombing, some area you'll forget about honeycombing. You will not know about honeycombing at all.
That's something very great.
Think that you will ask what is honeycombing?
Yeah. So free flow concrete is what is being advocated by Basavaraj sir, and yes, practically implemented at site. Yeah. Final comments by Ravi Shankar sir. What is your final parting comments that you would like to leave our construction professionals for the day?
2 points. One is on the training, again, going back to what Dr. Aswath has mentioned. Okay, I see one of the question here in the charts that, why can't we expect a RMC vehicle to add water into the concrete? And is there any trouble? So this is the kind of understanding that we have. I have a personal feeling that a very least importance is given to understand the concrete by the site engineers, unlike the design and the execution. I see that basics are missing in many sites with the concrete the site engineers. And a lot of platforms are available for the training, like Dr. Ashwath has mentioned. Only thing is, we sites engineers need to take out time with their busy schedules and go back and attend this training program. That's one thing. And as per the selection of the reduced concrete supplier is concerned, please select the list of the companies which are certified by RMC QCI quality scheme. Once it is done, then your 50% of the problems are solved. Then insist on the cycle data from the ready-mix concrete plants. And when the truck is arrived at the site, actually look at what is as per and what is delivered to you. Actually, once it is clear, then unload the concrete. And as far as the compaction, curing, early curing, and later age curing need to be taken care by the site. The final point on the negotiation, there's a limit for the negotiation, and when we know that the price that we are asking, even if you produce a concrete at site, we can't produce a concrete at that price actually. If that is the case, then we should know where we have to start negotiating actually, and look for the right.
So with those final points by Basavara sir about free-flowing concrete, by Aswath sir about the certification of RMC units, which has to be made mandatory for picking a quality concrete, and by Ravi Shankar ji about training as well as the practical aspects of concreting. We thank all the speakers for the day. We thank, yes sir. Yeah, please make your point, sir.
Because I'm very worried about the best practices in using the concrete, and the people are talking the same old things. In fact, I've met almost all major consultants in Bangalore discussing about these quality issues. So in conclusion, I would like to request all the consultants to insist for certified concrete from a certified manufacturer, because it has got a lot of benefits. It is automatically a third-party audited concrete, so all the advantages will be there for the architects and consultants, so that it can be a tool for shortlisting the supplier. And all the consultants should start using in their specification, like the Karnataka PWD is mentioned in their ESA book. You please mention your specifications that use of concrete from certified players only. Then automatically all the manufacturers will take the certification. They will go through all those 180 plus checklists. Then automatically these issues will be resolved, and we can get a good concrete. And in future, we'll not talk about the problems. We'll talk about increasing the performance of the concrete, and more on high-grade concretes and effective concretes will be discussed in the future webinars, instead of taking up the same problems of the concrete. So I request all the viewers of this webinar to major appeal that in your specifications, please mention concrete from a certified player from the Quality Council of India. That will be the solution for many of the problems.
Thank you so much, sir, for the panelists who have taken up their time, Basavara sir, Ravi Shankar sir, and Aswath sir, and to all the construction professionals who have logged in. So this was the 12th webinar that has been organized, and tomorrow being a Sunday, we have a special webinar, 13th webinar, which is on ferro cement and applications by Dr. Ganesh of NIT Kozhikode. And then day after, on 5th, we have a webinar on sustainable construction by Padma Shri Professor Shankar from Trivandrum. So these are some of the other webinars which have been lined up. So thank you for attending this, and I thank the panelists for giving your valuable time to give your insights from. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anil. And some of the attendees are asking for the documents details. I will send the list of all the documents. Please put up wherever this material will go, so that all.
I will send you the discussion itself to you, the email IDs, so that it will be easier for the association itself to send directly.
If they go to QCA website, they will get everything.
We will take initiative in addressing all the issues in the further activities of the ACCA, and all these documents will be shared to the participants.
Thanks. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So we are signing off from the event. We have already exceeded the time limit by half an hour. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Thanks.
Okay.
Thank you.